Click the links for Odysee, BitChute, and support my vitally important work on Coffee. F. Kwanzaa, hashtag Tristan of Nerdits newsstand did nothing wrong. She is so adorable. And Kwanzaa's just a total douchebag. You know, he can copyright strike me and get me kicked off, but I'm not monetized. I'll just start a new channel. It's not the end of the world. Anyway, F. Kwanzaa. I started thinking about the manga versus American art things because the sales have come in. And obviously, manga is number one. So I saw this, I was thinking about the Japanese art style in general, the whole like philosophy difference. And I saw a video on YouTube. It was a girl with an overactive imagination. She looked in the clouds and she saw, I don't know, stories. And she looked in the street and saw an ocean with sharks swimming, so she couldn't cross. So the two older kids came along and they carried her across the water. You know how you carry like a kid with two people holding the hands and just pulling her up. The whole thing was clever. It was adorable. It was like a minute long, and it's just like you felt good after it. You felt clean after it. It was a bunch of happy, fun characters doing cool things. It was like 2 minutes of just escapism. It was a shockingly different vibe from American Bolshevik diverse abortion propaganda. The Marvel version would be a little pox girl, but in the clouds, she would see every Jussie Smollett hate crime hoax to inspire her to probably do a more successful hoax next time. The funny thing about those hoaxes, I just learned a new word. They call these, I'm not sure if you're not aware, but if you check the FBI stats, something like over 90% of hate crimes are hoaxes, but they still get reported as in the FBI tables. They call this new word is spasticas, because people who do these hoaxes, which a guy had a car dealership, he painted a bunch of these things on his cars and he wrecked all the cars in the lot because it turns out he was upside down on the business and he wanted the insurance and he wanted to go fund me and wanted to sell out. So they paint these spastikas, which is like the broken cross, but they apparently don't know how to just copy them correctly. So they're like, the arms are going in all cattywampus directions. It's like, what kind of Nordic ruin is that? It's like, obviously this is fake. Obviously, like, even the reporter who's there is like, this is bullshit. How do I say this without getting fired? Everyone knows this is bullshit. The investigator who's investigating, they know it's bullshit. The audience knows it's bullshit. Like, everyone knows it's bullshit. Turns out, oh yeah, you're on high definition security cameras, the owner of the place pulling a hate crime hoax. But it still gets recorded as in the media and the public kind of memory as, oh, this evil hate crime must have been done by who. It's like, no, it was done by the guy himself for an insurance scam. Anyway, in the Marvel Universe version of this, you would have the adorable little pox girl who would have to fight off evil blonde, blue-eyed kidnappers, robbers, gang members, drug dealers, terrorists, and various N-word and bomb droppers who would also be doing like non-stop passive aggressive. Oh, goddamn it, dog. That dog cannot stand a closed door. And then she comes in and she looks at me like I never loved her a day in my life. How dare you close a door on an adorable little dog? And then two more BLT POCs would help her cross the road, but it would be filled with like Donald Trump sharks. And then they would lecture the readers on how trans animals are disenfranchised, marginalized, and oppressed. How we're all actually cat people and the evil blonde oppressors who own the media, government, financial institutions. My gosh, they even control the schools and prawn to brainwash kids. And all we have to do is stand up to overthrow the table at which our oppressors sit. Then the morbidly obese idiots at Marvel wonder why their anti-white comics aren't selling. Look, our Marvel manga is practically the same thing. Dear Marvel, manga isn't anti-white Bolshevik propaganda. Marvel is. I don't know who runs Marvel these days, but odds are good it's a fat, developmentally disabled bundles of sticks. He needs to tell his writers, does the comic belittle, degrade, or defame European people who are mostly your customers? Does it preferentially cast them in a negative light? Are they overrepresented in negative acts? Are the Pox characters overrepresented as the protagonists? If so, you are dehumanizing already marginalized and oppressed beautiful European people. And of course, they're not likely to buy anti-European comics. Why on earth would they? Blonde people are awesome. Get over it. So American comics are never going to stop this hate-filled anti-light agenda. They're not even Americans. They're filthy globalists. All they know is corruption and decay. If you asked a fat load like Wade to cool it with the anti-Euro hatred, he would look at you like you had two heads. He is a fish in water. Anti-blonde hatred is his very existence. He will lose money to write Ignited, which if you haven't read, go read it. You have to keep in mind it's set in Arizona. If you're not familiar with the demographics of Arizona, they're not as he portrays them in his comic book, because apparently a lot of Swedish people live in Arizona. Are you insane, Wade? Arizona is basically Mexico by now. Everyone that calls him out is a suspected bleached bone under a desert sun supremacist. Even POC are apparently capable of oppressing blonde-haired, blue-eyed, multi-millionaire living in Southern California, Mark Wade, with multiple properties. So Japanese comics don't have any of that stuff. It is attractive people doing cool things. If you're making anything, keep that in mind. What is it? Attractive people attract people. I'm saying this is a fat load of garbage myself. I wouldn't draw fat loads of garbage in comics, because who wants to see that? Nobody. Marvel is ugly people with unusual proclivities, fighting almost exclusively evil blonde people. Everything in Marvel and DC is fat, ugly, and non-stop propaganda. Children of the Atom is short-hair, breastless lesbians fighting short-haired, breastless Aryans, Germans out of Austrian central casting. We get it. Whoever controls American comics really hates Aryans and Nordic types. The problem is the people who make American comics are bitter, miserable, hateful people, and for some reason they're all obese, which bothers me. They've been brainwashed by Marxist teachers and media their whole lives into believing the opposite of reality. It's like, go read an FBI table. Go watch some alt media. Blondes are awesome. Accept it, bigot. Am I saying that they're the best? Yes, I am. The thing is, Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse seem to agree, because they put blondes in these ridiculous roles that everyone knows is insane nonsense. Blonde motorcycle gangs running American inner cities? Are you out of your mind? But they feel confident putting them in these asinine roles as negative figures because it's so ridiculous, and everyone knows it's ridiculous. The problem is they have real-world consequences. Stupid people see this propaganda in the media, and then they do violence and further hate the beautiful people of the light. Anyway, from a comic business perspective, it doesn't make sense. You're insulting your fan base, your customer base. They're not fans. Think of them as customers. And then you get confused. I am confusion that sales are dropping. Gee, I wonder why. Dog comes in, goes right on the pillow. No wonder I have allergies. First of all, there's too much diversity in U.S. comics. It's cringy, and it doesn't appeal to the customer, because different people who are forced to live together, turns out that they hate each other. People absolutely hate diversity, and the people who are pushing it. Go ask wolves and sheep to live in peace together. We're not wolves. Shut up. People hate it in real life. Why on earth would they want to see it in some Marxist fantasy propaganda world that they have to pay $4 for, which is a little better than Kleenex? Where in Fantasyland the rats eat the cat? Gee, please give me a lecture while you live in your neighborhood with the average home is $1.7 million, and the demographics are, 98%, you know what. Everyone you see is literally a person of the light who just wants to grill. Come on, friend, do a terror. But that's not cozy. But, maybe one day, inshallah. I feel that these fat, ugly idiots in mainstream comics have never actually felt cozy in their lives. If you ask them to do a comic set in South Korea with only Korean characters, and all the protagonists and antagonists, all Korean. So you'd have no blonde man bad Donald Trump as literally the painting corporal who loved animals and was bullied into self-harm. They would be the face of confusion. Oh yeah, and make everyone beautiful. But short-haired B-cups who hate men are the golden standard. Not in comics. In comics, they have the appeal of naked Gail Simone, CB Sapolsky oil wrestling. I don't know who would win because Konnichiwa San Toyota Kawasaki would be trying to escape from Gail fisting him like a puppet. Japanese comics aren't some rare genius, but they don't deliberately try to suck. Oh yeah, you just hate diverse purse puppy propaganda. Let me be clear here. Yes, it's cancer. And more importantly, the customer also finds it unpalatable. I have to assume that manga isn't subsidized like Globo homogenous American crap is. Every year they do this Bolshevik trick of getting the crappy sales figures, and then they just say that they beat expectations. They do that in Russia all the time and worse things. Japan doesn't hire idiots like Vita Ayala, Gail, Wade, and the rest. I can't even remember their names anymore because they're so easily forgettable. And it's like mainstream comics is every year it decreases in importance as anything other than a film IP. It's just kind of out. The future generations are less and less aware of mainstream comics. Where, when we were kids, like everyone knew who Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man was. Like even the adults knew who they were because they were so enmeshed in the culture. Now it's like, oh yeah, it's a movie, right? Seriously, go ask some 20-year-old. They'd be like, oh yeah, some movie with that guy who did the horse racing film. None of these idiots could survive without a corporation that just wants to keep these IPs in circulation. Anyway, gee, why are they doing well? Why are these comics doing well? And American stuff is absolute cancer. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys all next episode until Kwanzaa copyright strikes me and I have to start a new channel.